Okay. Um, it's not showing me the window. Okay. Well, hello everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you today. Um, I'm going to say a little bit about essay, but first of all, I'm going to try and give some context for why we thought that essay was a good idea. So the starting point, of course, is that I love, and I hope all of you love systematic reviews, because for anything we do where research may be helpful, then we need to clarify what the knowledge base is. We need to know what do we know, what don't we know. And our traditional approaches to that were a bit unclear. And so now increasingly, we know that we need to use explicit, accountable, rigorous methods to bring together research. And this, shouldn't, of course, be a surprise to us, because that's what we do for all research. Is what we do for primary research. We need to be clear about our methodology, that it's rigorous, and that we're very transparent, so it's accountable, open to critique. So I'm very pleased that over the last 20 years, there has been a real explosion in interest and activity in systematic reviews, but there are still quite a few problems. So I just want to list some of the problems because they explain why we thought SC was important. The first is, although it's important that we have a plurality of research methods, just as we do for primary research, you've got different questions, there will be different methods, and also reviews will vary in the breadth and depth of the questions and in the scope of work done. There's not one type of systematic review, but just as within primary research, you can't assume that just something with a label of systematic review is undertaken well. And unfortunately, there's quite a few systematic reviews which are questionable. They have the label of systematic review. Another problem is that although people are kind of aware of the concept of systematic reviews, a lot of people aren't really that familiar. So even producers of reviews and in universities, a lot of my colleagues aren't aware of what systematic reviews are in other departments. And the same is true for people using research. And I think there's also quite a kind of a basic misunderstanding of systematic reviews, because people think it's like an extra method, a new extra method. So in courses on research methodology and in textbooks, systematic reviews are just a kind of an extra. We got surveys, we got experiments, we got systematic reviews. But that's not the way I understand systematic reviews at all. Systematic reviews are just an extra level, a meta level of looking at research. So it cuts across all methodologies. And there's also kind of lack of joined up concepts of the evidence ecosystem. So quite often, governments are really good. They're beginning to develop brokerage agencies like knowledge centers. And, you've got knowledge centers in Norway as well, but not looking strategically about how they fit into the rest of the evidence ecosystem. How does knowledge brokerage, how do systematic reviews fit with primary research production and users of reviews? And also, I don't know about your country, but in the UK, we've had a lot of investment in this area. But still, if you look at government departments, or if you look at international agencies, the UN agencies, for example, they tend to rely on expert committees rather than using systematic reviews. And just listening to the media and things like that, people say, oh, this is brand new study, rather than contextualizing it within what is known. And I just want to give one particular example of that, is in this slide. I did a little survey of with Howard White of 15 toolkits, and these are great. They're toolkits to try and enable evidence use. And some of them are government funded, some of them are EU funded. And of the 15, only 6 used in systematic reviews to make recommendations for policy and practice. So I find that quite shocking. So we need to be really pleased about the success we've had with systematic reviews, but how do we move forward? So Evidence Synthesis International, as Gough explained, is a partnership of those of us interested and concerned about all of this to make a change, and to be a global hub where we can work together. You know, at the moment there's lots of initiatives, but they don't really work together or collaborate that much. They're too busy doing their own work. So these, I won't read them out, but these are the goals of evidence synthesis in international. And number 4 is methodology. I think we're kind of getting better about that, but we're not doing so well about advocating for synthesis or developing the infrastructures, policies, and governance so that synthesis is a funded and routine part of strategic approaches to the production and synthesis and use of research evidence. So we've got some principles, and there are too many to list in slides, and it would bore you. But the main thing about these principles are the ones about systematic reviews generally, but the other is that this is not trying to see research evidence as having some mechanical effect on decision making, that we understand that there are lots of very important factors that will affect decisions. We're just saying that if evidence is going to be used, let's be very clear about how we're using it and using it properly. And we're also not saying that there is only one type of research evidence. There are lots of perspectives, ideological and theoretical assumptions and priorities which drive research production and use. And we need to acknowledge those rather than just say, oh, research is objective. Of course, it's special, it's produced by research, but we need to understand that evidence is driven by values as well. So how have we been getting on since the meeting that Gough mentioned in Oslo in 2015, 5 years ago? Well, we are now set up and we have advisory boards and everything, but progress is slow because we don't really have much resources to assist that. Hansland has been very helpful in supporting us with some of his resources, but we need to progress more than we have. But this awful pandemic that we're experiencing at the moment has resulted in a very positive initiative for creating a network called COVID End by one of the co-chairs with me of ESI, Jeremy Grimshaw, but also with John Lavis, to try and bring together evidence synthesis organizations relevant to COVID-19. And although this isn't the same as ESI, it is really like a test bed because it's provided a focus for evidence synthesis organizations to come together. And part of our work, as well as for COVID-19, is to say, how can we learn from COVID-End's networking to promote the work of evidence synthesis for all areas of work? So COVID-End has these 7 working groups, and if you're interested, I do advise you to go and look at the website. But I'm just listing these just so the energy that is going into trying to bring evidence synthesis to bear on COVID issues. And for ESI, as I say, this is creating a template, an example about how ESI can work in other areas of social policy. So I've gone beyond my 10 minutes. I apologize for breaking those rules, but here's just some links for people who are interested. There's the Evidence Synthesis International website. It's quite simple at the moment, but we hope to develop it. There's the position statement, which is available through the ESI website, but also directly from Systematic Reviews Journal website. And I'm very pleased that we have, as previously mentioned, three of the co-authors are illustrious Norwegians. I'm very proud and honoured to be working with them on this. And then there's the COVID End website too. So I will stop. I'm very happy to respond to any questions if that would be helpful. Thanks for listening to me.
So